We hold 24 active contracts going on right now. My largest contract so far is 2.9 million, and I'm not even doing the work. Anyone can get into it, regardless of your background. I didn't come from wealth, but I understand and I learned the process. There are over 40,000 contract opportunities posted every day on Sam.Gov. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
We have Coach Jay, who is amazing on TikTok. One of the most legit government contracting, not only coaches, but he also has government contracts. So I am so honored to have you here.
I'm so honored to be here.
Well,
with
welcome.
The legend, Dr. Parks.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet, Coach Jay.
Yeah.
Normally I would ask how you got into government contracting, but before we go there, we got to talk about the accent for those who may be new to you. So tell us a little about the accent.
So if you can make sure that you could hear the accent, a lot of people default to Jamaica. So it's not. It's from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm originally from the beautiful island. So it's 2 islands, 1 country. That's why we say Trinidad and Tobago. 2 islands, 1 country. I'm originally from there. I migrated to the United States when I was 20. So I came to the United States when I was 20. So I've been living in the United States ever since. Came to fulfill the American dream. So if you hear me get excited and all that, then my accent might come out and stuff like that. So that's where that accent is from.
I love it. And I love the fact that you came over and I believe you served in the military.
I did. So let me give you a little backstory of history. So my grandmother, I don't know how she became a United States citizen. Okay. But she became a United States citizen first, and then she filed for her kids and her grandkids to migrate to the United States. So when we finally got approved, I was 20. So I had to be here before I turned 21, or else I would be considered an adult. And I had to start the process all over again. So everything came through, I think, right after my 19th birthday. So I had to be here before I turned 21. So I came to the United States February of 1999. And I was only in the United States for like a month. And then I decided to join the United States military. So I joined the United States Air Force. I was high on life. First time out of my country. First time outside of the Trinidad and Tobago. I was in United States, and I wanted to experience everything. And I wanted to give back for giving me the opportunity to come to the United States. So what better way to serve? So I joined the Air Force. I was in the Air Force, and I absolutely love it. So that's how I got here.
I love that. And then how did you go from there to government contracting?
It was a little journey. So when I was in the Air Force, and it's funny, and I tell, most people that I interview and I let them know my story, I was the airman that was on these military bases. And I was the one that used to go to the gate to escort government contractors to come onto the base to do work and do facility maintenance and all kind of repairs. And I was always curious because I thought, especially coming from Trinidad, that the only people allowed to do work on military facilities and all that had to be part of either the United States military or some branch of the service. So I was always asking them, how is it that you were able to come on and to do this job and all that? And they told me that they were federal government contractors. They told me that they get paid to come on to do repairs and stuff for the military. So that was my quasi introduction into federal government contracting. And they told me that it was very lucrative. They said that, they're able to support the needs of the federal government by coming out and doing that. So that seed was planted since then. So after I got out the military and I started to work for an insurance company at the time that employs past government employees, I was working for them. And one of my best friends were actually a contract officer, and he was on top of me for years. Hey, get into federal government contracting. He used to tell me all the time, this is what they're spending. This is what they're spending. They have a budget and they have to spend it. Get into federal government contracting. And I was, I don't know, because I falsely thought, like most people, that I had to have some type of bankroll to get into federal government contracting, or I had to know somebody on the inside, or I had to have a business established for multiple years and have all of this experience before I can actually get in and get started. So after he was on me for many, many years, I decided to take the leap for it. So I actually hired a mentor. who were able to connect the dots. And what she showed me that how simple the process was, I've started to get in, I started winning federal government contracts. And then my family started asking me because they saw the lifestyle change.
Right.
Hey, you're always gone. You're always traveling. You and your wife, you're in Mexico one day. Oh, wait, you're in Japan for 2 weeks. How are you able to do this? So then I started to share with them, well, I do federal government contracting. And the process and the system that I do the middleman strategy. So I'm able to do it remotely and not have to physically do there to do the physical work. So I started to teach my family. So my brother is into it. Then I taught my sisters and all them. So then we decided to, let's open it up for those that are interested and had the false information that I had that it's difficult, or I have to have money, or I have to have all this knowledge to get started. So then we formed the community, and now we teach people to get started, to get in and get started.
I love that you have a friend who was like, listen, you're missing out. We all need somebody like that. And if you don't have somebody, you have your TikTok channel, my YouTube, other creators out there to help inspire and motivate you, because what a caring person to want you to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is so much room, and the federal government needs so much. And that's really why I started shouting from the rooftop on TikTok. So my social media channel, TikTok, YouTube, and all that, we get on and we'll let people know that, hey, federal government contracting exists, and it exists for everyone like you and I. I'm no one special. I'm an immigrant from Trinidad, moved to the United States. I'm a blue-collar worker just like everyone else. I didn't come from wealth. I didn't come with a silver spoon in my mouth. But I understand and I learned the process of how that I can serve the federal government. And that has way opened up the door. So I'm just trying to let everybody know that's one of the themes in our community. You are just one contract away from changing your family's financial situation. Just one.
You are, and I love that. I do, because it's so true. Our first kind of ish sole source, it was technically our second one, but it was for $4 million. I mean, that has changed my life, and they've been our client for 10 years. 10 years. I mean, it's unreal. So talk to us about your first contract.
So my first contract, and everybody laughs at it when I tell them. My first federal government contract was for $35. I got paid $35 a month because it was proof of concept. Because going into it, again, even though my mentor at the time, you probably heard of him, Jason White, first name, last name.
Yes.
Even though he at the time he was saying, listen, it's just this, just do what I'm telling you to do, I still was skeptical. And a lot of us, just because we hear the federal government, we automatically get apprehended for some reason. I don't know why. So that's one of the things that I have to teach and help people in my community overcome, that listen, just do it. The federal government is not sitting there with a hammer waiting for you to mess up just to smack, that's not what they do. That's not what they do.
No.
So my first federal government contract, I followed the steps that he showed me, and I got a quote for a price, and it was for barbering service, actually. To go into the federal prisons and either cut, I can't remember it now because it was at least 3 years ago, at least cut the hairs or teach the inmates like a transitional to cut hair. And I only put $35 on top of it. I went very low because I wasn't sure. I still, was working out the process. So I won the federal government contract, and I was getting $35 a month. And that was the most excited $35 I had going forward. Now, fast forward, my largest contract so far is $2.9 million, but it's spread out over 5 years. But I will take it. But the proof of concept works.
Yes. And it builds confidence.
It does.
It showed you can do it. As you said, came from Trinidad and Tobago. We're both ordinary people. It's amazing. Yeah. So talk to us about that $2.9 million contract. What is this for?
So I believe it's more than 2.9 because it's for elevator maintenance. And it's for scheduled periodic maintenance, annual maintenance, quarterly maintenance, and all that. But on top of that, if there's any emergency repair work, because we hold the contract, they call us for the repairs. So that's outside of the regular maintenance contract. So on top of that, that's one of the largest ones we have. And we service the elevators. We do the emergency repairs. We do the quarterly and annually. And those are some of the contracts that I'm not even doing the work, the physical work. We don't go to the location. We don't see the work. I don't think I've ever seen physically the employees of the local subcontractor that we hire. I've never seen them. And that's the process that we fine tune and we show everyone that, listen, anyone can get into it, regardless of your background, regardless of what industry your business is in or what industry you are in professionally. You can be able to supply the need of the federal government by simply finding someone in that local area who has the ability, the manpower, the capability to do the work. And you just have to know the simple steps, how to communicate properly, how to price properly, and then how to just follow instructions.
I love that.
How to follow instructions.
Truly is that simple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it truly is. And for some, the thought is, I can't find these people.
Yeah.
I've called and I'm the 10th person to call, or they're not picking up. They're not responding to my emails. How does someone get past all of that noise?
So, and that's why we named our community. When we were formulating our community to be able to help, that's why our community is called FGC Simplified. It simply stands for Federal Government Contracting Simplified. We simplify the process that anyone could be able to take it, digest it, and replicate it, and be able to do this over and over again. So one of the simple ways is just being able to communicate with the subcontractors. So we use a couple of tools we use in our toolbox in order to find the subcontractors that's going to work on your federal government contract. So the federal government, and these are for those that don't know anything about federal government contracting, when the federal government presents a particular solicitation, they are going to give you everything. They're going to give you what they want, how they want it, when they want it. They're going to give you every detail. So I teach all the time in my community that you have to look at it as the federal government has a need. And if they have a need, they're going to give you all the explanation for you to solve that. If they want it 6x8, they're going to spell it out for you 6x8. They even provide pictures. They even provide maps. Furthermore, if you want to go see the location so you can accurately give us a price, they would do that too. It's called a site visit. So they give you all the information you need. So we show you how to take that information, and we use the tools that already exist. One of our favorite one is Google. We use Google.
Yeah.
Because I understand that companies pay to get ranked on Google. They want to be in front of audiences. So they pay to rank on Google. So I simply go to Google and search for what the federal government wants. If they want porta potty servicing, I look for porta potty companies in that area, and I simply ask them a question. Hey, I'm looking to get whatever it is the federal government wants. Do you have the capability to do it? And can you give me a price? That's it. Because we understand that businesses are in business to make money.
Yes.
They're in business to make money. And this is kind of the aspect that we bring to this space. I take my experience of being in the military, dealing with contractors and actually dealing with government jargon and all that. We've taken my experience of me being in the private sector as a contractor and as working with contractors and subcontractors. And we put the verbiage and the language and the communication together that anyone could apply it. So when you understand that in a business, the most expensive part in business is acquiring a customer, you approach them with work. Of course, I'll give you a price. That's one less customer that they have to go out, less dollars in advertising, less dollars in marketing, because I am bringing the work to them.
And what a gift, because the person that you're contacting, they are an expert in the thing. Elevator repair, providing portables and hand washing stations, and you're bringing everything to the table. Look, I'm just looking for a quote. We win. Here's how things are going to work. It's great. We've had that happen. We had that happen with a training. Somebody reached out. Hey, we're going to do everything. We're going to do the proposal. Here's what we think for the pricing. Here's your cut. Here's this. It's like, heck yeah. I mean, because now I don't really do anything except for project manage. And for invoicing and some other areas, but why not? Because many falsely think, which I get why, Aren't they just going to bid on themselves? Why bid on elevator repair or portables or HVAC? They're the experts. They're just going to bid on it.
I explained this to them, not necessarily, because most businesses, they get paid by doing what they do. If it's a plumbing business, they get paid when they go out and do plumbing work. They don't have a dedicated staff like us to sit there on Sam.gov and to find these opportunities. So sometimes they don't even know these opportunities exist. And in order for them to bid on it themselves, they have to go through the process of being registered in Sam.gov. Not all companies are registered inside of Sam.gov. So that's why. And it's a win-win-win situation. The federal government has a need because they're putting it out on these procurement boards like Sam.gov. They have a need and they have funding to fulfill that need. A small business is now getting a customer and injection of revenue into that small business. And then we are getting paid by putting the two together.
Yep.
So it's a win-win-win all the way around.
It sure is. And those companies who get it, those are the ones that you want to work with. And those who may not get it, or I say if it's heavy, it's challenging to try to get a quote or work with them. Sometimes it's a blessing because if it's hard to get a quote, imagine when now you get the award. And then they have to do the work. They have to show up for the work. They have to go through maybe the security checkpoint. You have to pay. And sometimes it's better to just say, not going to work with them. I'm going to call somebody else.
That's it. You so eloquently said it too as well. And because we vet them when we're actually giving them the information. So part of our process, we teach them how to spoon feed them at first. See how they respond to you. Ask them for certain information. Again, ultimately, they're going to be working on your behalf on your contract. If they're non-responsive, if you have to go back and forth just to get a quote, do you really want this company working on your behalf, representing you out in the field? No. Yeah. If you don't answer my phone call, or if you said you're going to get me something by close of business on Wednesday, and it's a week later, and I'm still asking you for the quote, I'm going to just go on to the next one.
Yes. And it's okay. I want everyone to know it's perfectly okay because we do it too. Yes. If you're looking to buy a television or you're looking to buy a car and the salesperson is non-responsive or their website says, hey, text us to see if this model's in stock and they don't respond to you, you're probably going to move on to the next car dealer.
Exactly. It's the same thing we do in our day-to-day, everyday life. Our transferable skills we can apply to this. Yeah.
Yes. And what are some other techniques that you kind of wish contractors would do, whether they're starting out, maybe they've won a couple contracts? What are some things that you're like, man, if more people did this, it would just be amazing?
Are we talking about the contractors that's going to work on our behalf? Or are we talking about people that are getting into federal government contracting?
Oh, I'm an and.
Yeah.
I'm an and lady. Let's do both.
So for those that are getting started and now getting into federal government contracting, when you are approaching to get quotes, because the biggest thing is that you cannot submit a bid if you don't get a quote. This is the hurdle that I believe that is one of the major ones to overcome, getting the quote back from the subcontractor. And one of the things that I would encourage anyone that's now getting started, remember we're vetting the subcontractors while we're requesting a quote. So I call it, don't vomit on them when you first reach out to them for a quote. I've had people, community members and all that, they've called the subcontractor and then they're giving them, oh, we're going to invoice you on the net 30 and then we're going to do this. And you don't need all that. My first initial contact with you, I want to know, can you do the job? Do you have the capacity to do the job? And how much would it cost? Once you're responsive to me with the quote, then I start to go into details about, okay, listen, the federal government pays on a net 30. So therefore you will have to be on the net 30 terms and all that. We will go into invoicing and all of that afterwards. Let's get the quote first. A lot of people, they just call and say, hey, I'm calling on behalf of the federal government and I'm trying to get this, and they give you everything because they're excitable about it. Just keep it simple. Just keep it simple.
You got to keep it simple and also be careful that you don't misrepresent in the excitement because none of us are calling on behalf of the federal government. None of us work for the federal government. We are vendors. We're industry. So just make sure everyone that you do that because you may have a company that will report you.
That's right.
And that's the last thing that you want, is the federal government coming after you because somebody, you're, misleading them. And it happens, it could be an accident. So, but I know you're continuing on because we got the and going.
Yeah. So that's one of our pillars. That's one of the pillars inside of our community. We do everything with upfrontness and integrity. We never call and said we're calling on behalf of the federal government. No, we're calling on behalf of our company, just asking for a quote. That's it. We don't ever misrepresent. On the subcontractor, and I know it's hard, and I know it's hard. I wish they would do is to let us know, hey, you know what? We're going to bid on this themselves. That's simple. I wish they would do that. But in my experience of doing this, I've had them play games with us. They have given us, because they know that they're going to submit themselves. So they gave us an inflated quote to put us out of the ball game. They knock us out of, put us out of the ball game. And then once we find out who won the award, it was the same company that gave me a quote. But, time is precious. So they could have just said, you know what, we're going to submit this ourselves. Let's move on and all that. But I do understand in the realm of business, sometimes it's a little cutthroat. So
yeah,
it comes with the territory.
It is. It's business. I mean, you look at social media, everyone mirrored TikTok. Everyone has some type of short and Snapchat with their disappearing comments and DMs. Instagram has that.
Yeah.
WhatsApp now has that.
Oh, really?
It's just part of business. So don't take it personal, everyone. Like, you can be upset, just shake it off, let it just roll off your back. It's going to be okay.
And understand that it didn't cost you anything but a learning experience. We don't pay for quotes. We don't pay for solicitations. We just find the need, and then we find a company that can be able to fulfill it. You're just getting your reps in. That's what we call it. Just get your reps in.
I love that. You definitely are. And this is the best learning tax because you're not paying. It's like you got a scholarship.
Exactly. Oh, I like that. I'm going to have to borrow that for you.
You can borrow it. Take it.
It's like a scholarship. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I can't remember who made the quote, but somebody made a post today. There are over 40,000 contract opportunities posted every day on Sam.Gov. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of when. As long as you stick to your process and you submit proposals, it's just a matter of when.
So true. I cannot say it enough. No matter who comes for me and uses my thumbnails as clickbait, it's easy to win a contract. You can win one.
Yeah.
It's difficult to repeat it or to execute it, especially if you don't have a coach. But you can easily win a contract because there's so many things that they want to buy. And they just need it, just like us. That's why we'll pay for an Amazon membership in order to get the Doritos in 2 days.
Prime shipping, yes.
1 day.
That's right.
3 hours if you have the Whole Food delivery.
It's just a matter of when. And they buy everything. One of my weirdest contracts is goat grazing in California.
Okay, hold on.
Grazing.
Hold on. I'm not ready for that one.
Yes.
So tell us about these goats. Who in California purchased these, and what are they grazing on, and what is the purpose of grazing? Is it agricultural?
So the reason I actually went after solicitation is just out of curiosity. So my company right now, we hold 24 active contracts going on right now. And most of them are for 4 and 5 years better. But some of them are just, one-hitter quitters that we call them. You supply the need of the federal government and then it's over and then you move on. And most of them I actually go after is just out of curiosity. So I saw goat grazing. I didn't know what goat grazing was. What do they actually want? So I started looking at the requirements and what they're looking for. So it's fire prevention. I guess a couple of years, there's these wildfires that goes on in California. So in order to keep the agricultural brush down and all that, they hire shepherds. I believe they're shepherds because sometimes they want sheep, sometimes they want goats. They wanted goats and they wanted goats to come in and to graze over, 25 acres of land in California. So since we did our same process, we reached out to shepherds. A couple of shepherds were like, listen, I don't have all goats. I have goats and sheep. So I had to go back to the federal government and say, hey, they said, no, all they want is goats. I don't know why, but I don't know. I didn't get the reason, but they said all they wanted was goats. So I actually found the incumbent who actually had the contract before. He actually downsized his herd, but this year they were all matured and in the right side. So he was able to give me a good quote for the price. I believe the quote, if I'm not mistaken, it was $25,000 profit for the season of them grazing. Didn't even know about goat grazing until then. So,
and this is mind-blowing, because those of you watching, listening, you can do the same. You don't have to have a background in it, because you're finding that subcontractor who is able to execute it, and you were able to connect with the incumbent, which is magical.
Dr. Casey, I didn't know what goat grazing was. I never had goats. And that's what we teach people. And listen, I've been following you for a while, and I show you do people the same thing. You tell people, just keep it simple. The federal government gives you the information you need. You just have to do the legwork to find someone who's able to fulfill it. And then just put the two together.
Right.
Put the two together. But now I know what goat grazing is. Still don't have any goats yet, but I know what goat grazing is. So,
but it's great, because they had a sheep shearing contract not too long ago.
Okay.
That was out, and I've come across horse training. They wanted the horses to be able to do the different trots.
Okay.
That one was on Unison many moons ago. So there's a lot out there, and you can easily find these companies, because first and foremost, there aren't that many.
There are so many out there. Every single day you have an opportunity. It refreshes. You have an opportunity to find a need and be able to fulfill it.
I love this. I adore this. So Coach Jay, how can people connect with you, reach out, learn more about what you offer, who you are, all of this amazingness?
So if you want to learn more about our community and what we teach you, the simplified process of getting into federal government contracting, you can reach us at, again, we are FGC Simplified on all platforms. So if you put FGC Simplified in YouTube, we'll pop up. If you're on TikTok, it's FG Simplified. Even if our website is fgcsimplified.com. So you can reach out to there at we put as much free content, one, to let you know that federal government contracting exists, and then to show you how simple it is to get started. Whenever you make a decision that you want to get into federal government contracting, then we are there to carry you the rest of the way. You can jump on with our Join the Community, so we can teach you the process that we have gleaned over the years on how we are able to successfully win federal government contracts.
I love that. So make sure you connect, reach out, because it's all about you learn, apply, adjust. Learn, apply, adjust. And we don't just read, well, I mean, I don't think anybody really did. We read multiple books. We took a variety of classes. The same applies in government contracting, in business, in sales, in client relations. You want to learn as much as possible, apply, and adjust, because we all have our different journeys as entrepreneurs. So I am so grateful for you, Coach Jay, for being here, for your sharing, your amazing wisdom. Again, everyone, connect with him. Get my book if you haven't, winnerswaybook.com, winnerswaybook.com. Get the book, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. And as always, everything is possible. Until next time, take care.